Israel is such a vibrant democracy. I just can't imagine those people living under any kind of dictatorship, but I could see the country becoming very cruel to the Arabs. What kind of scenarios, worst case scenarios, do you see for people like you after this judicial overhaul?
Don't forget that the Weimar Republic was pretty vibrant as well until Hitler took over. And I'm not saying that Hitler is about to emerge in Israel, but Israel could come to resemble Poland and Hungary, with no free press, with no free judiciary, with civil human rights basically trampled on by the government, by the police. All of this could happen conceivably if the right gets its way, the right and the ultra-Orthodox get their way.
How could that happen in the modern age with technology, with Twitter, with the internet? How could this, and half the country being Western people, how could that possibly happen?
Look at Hungary,
be a bloody civil war.
It has happened in Hungary and Poland, exactly this process. You could say, how come it happened there? These are fairly civilized countries, cultured countries and so on, and yet this has happened.
I don't know the Poles, but I know Israelis.
Yeah, I also know Israelis, but I also know the other half of Israelis. You're looking at the Israelis you know. You have to look also at the Israelis you don't know.
Is this correct? You're much more concerned about how this judicial overhaul will affect the lives of Arabs than you are concerned for the lives of Israelis, correct?
No. The opposite is true. I'm much more concerned about how this will affect the lives of people like myself, liberal Israelis, who fear that basically democracy is being chipped away by these efforts to legislate new laws.
For instance,
we're worried about our basic rights at the moment. Secondarily, we're also worried about how this will affect the Arabs in the West Bank and Israel's Arab population. And here the judiciary in Israel made a terrible error, in my view. They allowed Netanyahu to become prime minister. It was brought before them. They 11 justices sat on it, and they decided by a vote of 11-0 to allow Netanyahu to head a political party going into the elections, knowing that he probably would become prime minister. And they should have known that a man who's being tried for corruption shouldn't be allowed to be prime minister, because he would eventually try and tilt the judgments of the court, the whole way the process against him was being managed. And that's exactly what he's been doing, and this is one of the major drives of the Likud, that is Benjamin Netanyahu, in trying to overthrow or subordinate the judiciary to his will. It's basically, from his perspective, it's about him evading jail time, because that's probably what he would end up with if the court decides against him. If a semi-dictatorship does emerge in Israel, lots of youngsters, especially the more talented ones, doctors, etc., will leave the country. They won't want to live under a regime like Poland's or Hungary. And this is happening. I mean, I know children and my children's friends and so on, they basically talk about, it's not that easy to leave a country, incidentally, but they talk about it and think about it, and some are actually leaving already.